enhancing the floor with my own breakup pattern, I think that made it even more a little hyper textured.
Yeah.
So again, with trying to create different locations, it's really tricky, or it's just a trick, because a lot of times you're just the lighting and the set too, but the lighting is somewhat abstract. Like, I'm not using a lot of realistic gobos to say, hey, we're inside, hey, we're outside. It's more about just highlighting certain areas of the stage. And I think the timing of the cues, how fast they crossfade from one to another or slowly, make it seem like we have entered a new location. So as far as so obviously these are pictures from the 2020 production. I would say, for the most part, when I recreated it for filming, it was for the most part the same. I made a few adjustments, and especially, when we get to talking about Andressa and cinematography, I definitely had to make adjustments level wise, because, like I've mentioned in Iliad before, when I'm lighting to the eye, not to camera. I'm also lighting to the stage being viewed by a three-quarter thrust, audiences on three sides. So whereas for film, I mean, if I was lighting this play strictly for film, and because I was recreating it, it's a little bit superficial. I wasn't lighting strictly for film this time still. So, but like every picture we see here, even though it's from the original production, it's sort of similar to when you're filming it. You're only viewing it from a certain camera frame, whether it's a wide angle or a close up. I mean, we had a lot of interesting camera angles, but it's not what the audience would see. This is, it's just what the camera sees. So there is some forgiveness with lighting, or like a photo like we're seeing now. I kind of wish there was something highlighted in the background, some kind of flare light or some piece of scenery, instead of it being just black. So I did a little bit of, I took liberties to like put some bulbs in the audience, because I knew with cameras would probably see
I saw them
off stage. And I don't know, I haven't seen a rough cut of the film, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Here beyond the stage, I thought it was really nice.
So yeah, I can't wait to see it myself.
Yeah. Question for you, Ken. When I saw it live, I noticed more green and teal. Specifically, I noticed a teal green behind Humpty Dumpty, which right now, did it change to blue, or does it just read more blue?
It probably reads,
this is...
Andressa can answer that. It probably reads blue versus, like, if I use lavender, it's still going to read blue.
Yeah, I noticed, I think we're still in the editing process, but I noticed it read to me today when I watched it much more primary colors. I didn't notice as much green as I saw in real life, but
I used I did use teal. It's one of my favorite colors to use, especially in the mushroom scene.
Yeah.
But the filmed version wasn't exact. Julia took some liberties, with setting up pieces behind the action. Like we didn't do this for the filming. Like, we didn't have the walls in this configuration for the filming. We had two flats. Now, the other reason why you'll see more color, like more green, for example, in the 2020 version, is because we used atmosphere or haze. So you'll see the colors a lot more, but because we can't
Right.
For really no good reason. Personally, I don't think. I think not using haze is a little silly. It's proven that haze is not dangerous for
Well,
theater,
I can assure you, it still turned out beautifully.
but yeah, we didn't use haze, so the colors or even or gobos,
Right.
don't show up as much.
Right. Well, wonderful, Ken. That is all fantastic. And are there any other lighting images, Annette?
We've gone through all. I had 5 that were specifically earmarked for lighting. This one is 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, and 5. And we can use them here, but if those images seem to serve the conversation better later or someplace else, you guys can let me know. But these are the photos that when we're discussing lighting that I can scroll through.
I think those all work great for lighting, and I don't think that there's an incredibly specific need for them to happen at a certain time or order. I think based on what you're sharing, Ken, you're giving like a really comprehensive, big picture look at everything. So I think it's fine that we'll kind of notice what we notice in each one.
Yeah, and I'll just stay. I mean, obviously, I'm just going to stay keyed into the conversation and show something that seems appropriate in that moment.
Great.
Okay, great. So I think we're good with the lighting section.
I think so.
Okay, great. So
Annette,
then,
can I just say something?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem.
I would need all these photos to get credited, so I'll send you an email.
Okay, perfect.
They were taken by my favorite photographer for theater, Eve Holford,
wonderful,
my partner. So, and I'm using them on my website, so I want to make sure he's credited for his work.
Great.
Yes,
great.
wonderful. Thank you.
Because all the Craig's photos, they are very specifically always focusing on the actors. And so I really need someone that can embrace the, just the scenic part of it.
Yeah, we love the wide shots.
And again, right, Ken, I mean, feel free to use one of my photos because that shows really what your lighting is about.
I don't think I've seen all of Eve's photos, so I'll have to take a look.
No, there's millions, and they're gorgeous. Okay. Last night I was really until late, like tried to select with him like a couple just for tomorrow.
Right.
But we really can see like the space, which is very like an old tradition in Europe that we have like a theater photographer that really embraces the whole production. This, in terms of
that's why I love anytime the camera was on top of the rickety 12-step ladder. That was always my favorite shot.
And we had a balcony shot in Alice in Wonderland that I noticed that I love. So Ken, if you'd like, because I know Federica had an abundance of really extraordinary photos that I think showcase lighting and scenic very well. If you'd like, after we release everyone, if you want to stay for like another minute and look at it again, you can pull out some that we could reuse for your segment. So with that, shall we shift to Andressa?
Yes. So I think I'm just gonna say what we had here, and then you can let me know if we want to switch the order. We had this moving into film.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I realized, can we look really quickly at costume just so I know what, because there's probably gonna be a bridge here.
Yeah, definitely. Let me make sure that I'm pulling up the right stuff here. Okay, so for costumes, we have, they're not side by side, so it'll take me a second. So we've got costume number 1, which is Alice, and her rendering is here. So then we have the rendering for the hair, and we have the rendering for the Hatter, and then we have I believe a joint photo of the two, the Hare and the Hatter.
Great.
Then we have the rendering of the Queen, we have the rendering of the king, and then we have a joint photo of the two of them together. And then the last two photos for costumes specifically are this Victorian costume group shot of the ensemble, and then we have a second one of the Victorian ensemble. And that's everything that we have for costume.
Great, and no rendering for Victorian, correct?
No.
Okay. Great, awesome. So I'll prepare to talk us through that order of photos. That's great.
Okay, great.
Jonathan, did you notice the table has the tablecloth? And the idea was we are reusing this to make it minimal. And guess where that comes from, right? It comes from the act when she's in the house, and this is her little rug next to the cat.
No, that's fantastic.
And so we just bring it to the tablecloth. So these are just little details that I love that nobody probably notices.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, for me, I thought it represented the proscenium golden arch, but yes, I didn't recognize it was exactly the rug.
And it's like an introduction to our chess board game. You know, we were just having fun, like into the rabbit hole. Yeah,
I love it. Well, let's shift to Andressa.
Yeah. So, one of the things that Julia talked about discussing with Andressa were the overhead shots. I don't have any of that, of any photos of that nature.
We'll just say they'll have to buy a ticket and see the beautiful magic. But Andressa can maybe still talk about it.
I can snap a screenshot because I have the final cut. We're reviewing it, so I can send it to you, like a screenshot of it. I don't think that's fine, right?
There was something also that Julia wanted to discuss. A talking point was Andressa talk about the camera angles, and she mentioned a photo of Alice discovering the red door, and I don't think I have a photo for that either.
I saw that this morning. You Andressa, you got it filmed from the side, which the audience didn't normally see. So if you are able to take screenshots. And if Annette, if we have time to incorporate that, it's totally fine if we don't, because I know we're in the final hours or day. But that would be a great side shot to see. You know, maybe the side next and the front, so we can establish what the audience usually sees, then establish this new frame.
No problem. I see what you mean. No. I can send you the snap for the overhead. I can send that for the new angle on the red door. No problem. I'll take them this afternoon. I also thought about talking about the lack of smoke and how we added a smoke effect filter on the cameras to try to bring that up a little bit. I thought about trying to bring up like some of the things that filming the play allowed to do, which is makeup, and also how we didn't shoot it in play order. We shoot it in camera angle order. So that was different for the actors, and we worked throughout 2 days in the order of how it would be more effective, because the cameras will change in places. So once we found one place, we shot everything that was in that angle. And then once we put the camera on top of the ladder to shoot the overhead, we shot all the scenes that we would use that angle, and so on. So that changed for the actors as well.
Does that mean, Andressa, that they would have to change their costume and their makeup and the scenic? So they would be like changing into one character multiple times throughout the day? Exactly. Or the shoot? Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that did happen. For example, we decided to reshoot at the end of the day, second day. We wanted to reshoot Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and we wanted to reshoot the White Queen scene, so they did it twice. But yeah, sometimes it would be a little bit of a back and forth to optimize the camera angles as well. We added Kitty that was possible too. I think that's great to mention. We added more.
Again, you added, what did you add?
Kitty, the cat.
Oh, yes, the cat. Yes,
It was not last year, and I think it was possible because it was contained, you know, not a big audience to have the cat, and we could cut if we needed to. She was a star. She killed it on the first 2 takes, so it was great. But it could have, yeah. So that, I think that's one of
the original, the life cat.
This is the fake cat, but I also have, Eric just sent me, I haven't seen them, but I just loaded them in, and we can look at it. It is a video of it's a cat clip.
Oh, perfect.
I'll go ahead and roll that so you can see.
Kitty dear, can you play chess? Because when we were playing just now, you watched as if you understood it, and when I said check, you purred. Well, really, it was a nice check, Kitty, and I might have won if it hadn't been for that nasty knight that came wriggling down among my pieces. Kitty, let's pretend that you're the Red Queen. You know, I think if you sat up and folded your arms, you'd look exactly like her. Now, do try, there's a dear. No, you're not holding your arms properly. I'll just hold you up to the looking glass, and you can see how sulky you are. And if you're not good directly, I'll put you through into Looking Glass House. How would you like that?
the star, the natural.
Fantastic.
Can I just say I love this because of course that's right back to Lewis Carroll and is actually an advantage of the filmed version over the stage version. So I love that.
I know it brings new possibilities, but also like I saw the archival from last year, and then I've been seeing the cut. We've been like back and forth giving feedback, and I can see the difference. It's I wouldn't say it's better or worse. It's just different. Right. So whenever they can see, because for example, when they're doing it with the audience, they're really projecting it, and for the camera, because the camera is closer to them, they don't have to project. Actually, it doesn't really suit that well if they're projecting too much. So the acting becomes a little bit more intimate, and it becomes a little bit more about their relationship. When the audience is there, it's more like this relationship. So it is different. It brings some new possibilities, but at the same time, because I've seen the archival before, like I can see how they're probably missing the audience, because it's a dynamic that you lose, and it's a big part for sure. Also, add more acting the mushroom scene, because it wasn't possible with the audience because of time. They had to do like the 90 minutes runtime, and they couldn't change the costume on time, and because we were not with that time constraint, they could come in, and so there is more like a group. Yeah, there are more actors there. So I think those are the things that I can remember that we could do because we were shooting. Of course, I want to like champion shooting it. I want to shoot all of them, but there's a dynamic there it's kind of, you know, not there because the audience is not there. I have to.
So another difference, I think, that this section, one of the talking points for this section would be to be about the social distance and how that was applied to blocking. And you sent me these great charts that Julia shared with Jonathan and I, where, you know, here was the blocking before and with social distancing, how that adjusted. And we have three of these slides, one for the Mad Tea Party, one for the Overture, and one for the White Knight. Mm-hmm. And I think also during this section, we have 3 photos for the chat about the blocking differences, and we have photos with the Tweedles. We have 3 of these. Just show these to you guys. And then the last bit of content for the social distance section, the social distance influence section is another clip. And I would like to just show that to you now so you guys can decide if these are things that you would like to use to influence the conversation. This is the Tweedles adjusting their number, I believe is what it is.
What shall we repeat to her? The walrus and the carpenter. That's the longest.
If it's very long, would you tell me, please, which road I...
The sun was shining on the sea.
Shining with all his might.
He did his very best to make
the billows smooth and white.
But this was odd.
Because it was the middle of the night. The walrus and the carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see such quantities of sand.
If this were only cleared away,
they said it would be grand.
Oh, oysters, come and walk with us. The walrus did beseech. A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk along the briny beach.
We cannot do with more than 4 to give a hand to each. So 4 young oysters hurried up, all eager for their treat.
Their coats were brushed, their faces washed, their shoes were clean and neat. And this was odd because, you know, they hadn't any feet.
I just want to add, though, those 2 clips, they are not color corrected, and that's something that we just did this Friday. I'm going to check it to see if they can resend it to you, because it looks very different from that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to check to see if they can send it.
Yeah, Eric just sent those to me right as we were starting. So I let him know that we would come back to him with notes of anything that needed adjustments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll ask him, because I know our editor is out on the trip as well, but we might be able to catch something.
Great. Andressa, anything else you wanted to make sure that we hit in this section?
No, I think that's all. Do I have a time limit so I can try to be concise?
Well, you know, I would say Miranda's is certainly going to be a little bit longer because that's going to be our introduction to the world. I would say if everyone could stick around 3 to 6 minutes, I will check in with you tomorrow to kind of give a little more of a game plan. I'm still, you know, downloading all this information, so I need to organize a bit before tomorrow. But I'll share with you, I would like to end this around after like 45, 50 minutes. So everyone can kind of keep an eye on the clock and know that if each person's speaking like 5, 6 minutes, have a sense of that. I think the biggest challenge, or I know the biggest challenge, will be keeping this in a tight time, because I know there is so much to share and talk about and questions to ask. So that's going to be our challenge, keeping it moving forward. I love, of course, you know, if we get questions, that might kind of change what our ending looks like. But I love the Tweedledee being sort of a part of our closing bit. I think that is such a fun musical number. So I think the order that we're stumbling upon right now works perfectly. Annette, is there anything else that we should check in about?
We have gone through all the content that we have available. Does anybody feel, I think we wanted to stay on just for a few minutes with Ken to just review a little bit, but other than doing the color adjustment to the 2 videos, and there was one other, and I think, Andressa, you're going to come back with a couple of photos, overhead shot, and the side shot of the discovery of the door. Other than that, I think that we are good content-wise.
Yeah, in fact, we'll just send the credit.
Yes, and the credit for those photos, and I will get a black background for the scenic photos. So that is.
I just have 2 quick questions. One is, Annette, are you the one who would be chatting to me potential audience questions from YouTube?
No, I think that's, you can see the YouTube, you can go to the YouTube page and you'll be able to see the chats. No. I think it's right on here. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but
okay.
On my right-hand side of my screen, there are some boxes at the side that say comments and a private chat. If you click comments, that's going to be the live stream comment.
The YouTube comments.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll keep an eye on that then. Great.
And then private chat is if you want to talk to me or anybody that is a part of the backstage part of this.
Great. And my second quick question is, I'm thinking specifically for the scenic photos. Is it an option for me to suggest an order to those?
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
The other part of that question is, are you playing them in an order, or are you sort of like, do we determine an order and then it's a matter of pressing go, or are you like responding?
I'm responding, but I have them in an order, like a hopeful order, and then I can respond within the segments.
That would be awesome. Would that
So
also be great?
so I think maybe after you have a think through of your points and blah blah blah, we can get together again and clean up.
That sounds great, because I certainly notice some sort of chapters or themes in that long group of scenic ones. So I'd be willing to say, like, this I think really highlights red, and this highlights gold, and this highlights that. And then you can have like a bucket to go to for each of the
perfect.
whatever we're talking
So we'll circle back, the two of us,
Right.
and tidy up.
Right.
And Jonathan, I just want to say, for me, I would rather, like the first question, or I would rather focus on what, like that one question I think Julia has, my role as a designer for a film production versus a stage. I just want to make sure that I'm not talking too much about what I did in 2020. I'd rather talk about, just so it ties in more with cinematography, I talk more about what I did for the film.
I'll highlight that.
Ken, I have a picture that one of my camera operators took of us, both of us on stage, releveling the lights. I'm going to send that to them as well. So
Great.
You will push it to what it took to make it ready for the cameras.
Got it. Great. Thank you.
No problem.
Great. Other questions or comments from the group before we?
Jonathan, just a quick question. As I understood, so each of us is going to have just a block, right? We just talk and then we're done.
It's going to be sort of presentation style, but each presentation is I'm going to be kind of responding the way the audience might respond. So I might say, and just like, so what does that mean? Like, what role is that? And I'll sort of make sure that the audience is hearing, I think, what you're hoping to share with them.
Okay.
So it'll be little chapters of one-on-one conversations with me.
I got it. So I will be just having one interaction. That's all I need to know. So I will talk and I'm done. Okay.
Yeah, and then but everyone will stay on camera. So if you wanted to say, oh, Ken, I had a thought on that too, you could do that as well. But the whole thing will move pretty quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just tough when kind of, because I love to react, but then it just doesn't sound good that I'm interrupting. I don't like it. So I'll just stay put.
That's fair. I will say though, if you like hear something that Ken says, for example, that really goes back to something you had said, you can put in the chat, oh, I'd love to talk about the color gold. And then I'll say, hey, Federica, I know you wanted to add to that. And I can create space for that conversation. So that's another way that you could advocate for an idea.
Okay.
Other questions?
That's great.
Awesome.
I will be sending another email with another link. So this link is done, and you'll have another link to go into, which will be the actual event tomorrow. And like I said, I'd like to just gather about 15 minutes before and just kind of review, touch base before we go live with some folks that want to hear about your process. Very exciting.
Awesome.
Great. Feel free to email or call me or whatever if you need anything. Jonathan and Ken will stay on, and everybody else, thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So let's just go and scroll through all the scenic. And then Ken, if you just want to say that one, if there's anything that pops out, or none of them. I mean, you don't have to use any of them, but if you see anything that pops.
Okay, so going through scenic, I'm going to skip her research photos. I'm just going to pop on through. Here's a model. Okay, here we go. Here we go with some stage stuff. We've got proscenium. This seems pretty relevant to you, Ken.
Yeah, yeah. Especially this is when we're trying to create the big door, little door sequence, which well, for filming, it was a lot easier because we could stop camera and,
Right.
I mean, we didn't actually, but it was a lot simpler this time around than doing it last year.
Okay.
Right.
So that's one that we will use during your section. Here's the Humpty chessboard.
I mean, I mean, like, yeah, that's a good picture just because all the flats are in, all the, the side panels and horizontal panels are being used. So yeah, this is probably a good one.
Okay, great.
This is very similar to the last one.
Okay.
So I don't think we need that last one because it's too similar to the other one.
Okay, but this one was good. We'll hold
yeah.
on to this first one.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then we were here. I think that's like preset.
Yeah.
And
yeah, this is kind of similar. I mean, to the other one in a way. This is probably good. I mean, it has atmosphere. I don't think it's important to make reference to that, to the fact that we couldn't use atmosphere. I don't think that's really.
I don't think so.
It's interesting to audiences. That's just a technical thing.
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm going to try to stay away from talking tech because, I mean, it's just not relevant, or interesting enough.
Well, one day when we get to have you for a full 50 minutes, we'll talk all those things. I think, because I find it fascinating, but I think, unfortunately, we've got to do really just the high value.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is the last set photo.
Okay.
Okay. So I've pulled, we have selected 2 additional from this group that we can reference in the lighting as well that I can bounce back to. Do you want to see the lighting ones one more time here?
Yeah, let's scroll through them.
I mean, this one's nice. It has people in it. It doesn't really show, the lighting or set so much, but it has, this is a good one to use. Yeah.
Okay, and then we have this.
Good for costumes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not bad.
Okay.
I mean, for lighting, this doesn't really show anything.
Why don't we cut this one?
Okay. Getting rid of that one. Okay, and then we have this one.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about that one.
I don't think this showcases lighting, this one.
No, it's I mean, again, like Frederica said, we need the wide shots.
Yeah. Well, great. I think we've got it.
I think so too. I think with the other 2, they're good places to start a conversation around or to highlight a conversation. So.
Right.
Ken, thank you so much. It's great.
Oh, sure. Yeah, good to see you all. Good to meet you.
And like I said, I'll reach out to you later this week because we'll talk about some fun logistics stuff coming up here.
Okay. All right.
Annette,
okay, Jonathan, do you want to stay on for a few minutes, or do you need to jump?
We'll just check in.
Okay. Thanks,
right.
Ken.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yay.
Awesome.
Yeah, just trying to figure it out.
No, you've figured it out. It's fantastic. So I have a lot of homework. I need to make first of all, your outline was extraordinary, and I still need to make something that is more in my language of easy cheat sheet.
Exactly.
So I need to do that. I'm a little bit behind. The only thing that I saw as like needing attention is those all of the scenic photos being categorized into points I think,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you don't need to write this down at all, but I know she talks about the door. She talks about the checkerboard. She talks about the dots, talks about gold, talks about red. I just think if I mean,
Got to guide it a little better.
Yeah, is there
right?
is there like a Dropbox? Is there a way for you to like share these photos easily? Where I don't want to create more work for you, but could I like easily see them and say photos 2, 3, 7, and 8 should show up for dots, and these should show up? Is that helpful?
Yeah, it is. You want the photos available to you while you're working on your list. That's helpful to you?
Not necessarily while I'm working on the list, but as an additional piece of homework, it seems, well, I mean, or we could go through them all right now and I could say, this seems good for this for this. I guess my question is, how can I support you in organizing these into subjects so it's not kind of a random collage of scenic?
Yeah, so I think after you do your homework and decide what points and what order you think you might do those points, then ping me and we can hop in here and I can go through, we can go through the segments and then I'll take some notes and then I just need to hop back in and do some organizing.
Great. So let's plan on pinging sometime tomorrow.
Perfect.
Does that work for you? Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm just going to look at my calendar and make sure that I've got like space leading up to the nighttime part of the day. And I do. I don't really have a whole lot of meetings in the morning. Hallelujah.
Do you want to schedule like a check-in at either 9:30, noon, or 2:30?
I want to do it at 2:30 if that works for you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put you in here.
Great.
What is this? Alice Virtual.
Great.
I'm going to add Jonathan and perfect. I will send you a link that we'll hop into to do some work.
You're amazing. Thank you.
2:30. Solid. That's great because then that will give you plenty of time to do your mental gymnastics and then we'll piece it all together. Perfect.
All right. Thanks so much. Be well.
Okay. Thanks. You too. Bye.